pause, learn to pause and practice pausing in your family, because it's a wonderful way to be introspective. And after you pause, ask yourself in your mind, is the thing that I'm going to say, do, or request or act, is this meant to bring greater connection? Or is it meant somehow to coerce him into doing something or being something? And if like I said, if it's a gentle parenting technique, kindly ask him, well, that's still coercion. Kindly tell him to brush his teeth. Like, oh dear, brush your teeth. Like, that's still a coercive thought or coercive act. Instead, let him know, here's what is of value to me and hopefully to you in our family culture. Maybe good hygiene is one of the things that we respect and honor and seek. Maybe it's not. Some families don't value that highly. That's okay. But whatever it is, let them know that this is a value to you. And instead of asking him to do it, invite him to join you while you do it. And if he doesn't want to do it, his body, his choice, right?
100%.
Yeah. And that might be controversial. People, like I just touched on the most basic thing, like brushing your teeth. And people are like, well, of course my child needs to brush their teeth, right? Well, do they? I don't know. I mean, I think so, but
yeah, everybody's different. Every family's different. Who knows?
His body's going to be an adult at some point. He needs to be able to find the intrinsic, the motivation from inside to take care of himself. And by you modeling that and expressing, your value around hygiene, and help him unpack the consequences if he chooses to do something else, that's your role. That's not coercion. That's parenting.
Yeah, I'm blessed. Actually, he has a nice regimen that he follows. He's very neat and has this nice regimen. And if you break that regimen, then he'll be like, what do you do with my schedule? I said, oh, sorry, honey. I know it's just for temporary. Okay. But he did have a hard time in school, as myself. Growing up, the school was not my friend. There's only maybe a handful of teachers throughout like K through 12th grade that really made a difference in my life. Because the schools in high school, I didn't want to learn calculus. I didn't want to learn like physics. Those are areas that I don't know about too well. I love more like learning about, maybe biology is better, or then maybe like I love PE, of course. I was very active. And then I just love like English, but I didn't like math or science, but I felt like we were always pressed to take these classes and it wasn't fun. So I love what you're doing. You actually have a wonderful program. And you actually travel with teens then. Can you talk a little bit about what the Project World School is?
Sure. So as you can probably guess, as an anarchist, I'm not really crazy about the traditional school system because it's coercive, it's compulsive. Compulsory, it's compulsive, it's compulsory by nature. Most people have to go, and most parents believe that their children have to go to school. And that's not actually true. You have the ability to choose other forms of education. I removed my child from school when he was 9 years old. He so happily boasts. We just, like I said, we just got back from dinner and we were chatting with somebody at the next table. And he's like, yeah, the guy asked him, so do you study here in the town that we live in? And he said, no, I don't. I study by myself. I don't study at the university. I'm actually a 5th grade dropout. And he was so proud of that.
That is so cute.
So proud of him because he's so articulate and so highly educated, because the motivation to learn came from within, and he's a scholar in so many different areas. But most of us don't really develop a deep love of learning, and school tends to program you out of that. Spend 15 minutes and focus on this, then switch and go here, switch and then do this, switch and do that. And then, oh yeah, raise your hand, ask permission to go to the bathroom. To me, that is not really conducive of a creative learning environment that supports the learner. And I'm glad that your son has an independent learning program, because that is a little better suited towards the needs of the individual, which I think we're all so different. We're not meant to learn the same things. And somebody like you who doesn't like calculus, you know, maybe sitting next to a person who loves calculus, and the two of you are going to have very different experiences with calculus. And why waste your time with something that is not going to serve you? Why not find your deep love of learning for the thing that you love? So what we do, though, is my son, like I said, was not going to school. He was home educated. We use the form of learning called unschooling. And then because we traveled, we called it world schooling. And basically our learning became experiential learning, social learning, self-directed learning. And I spoke about myself being a self-directed learner in the beginning. Yeah, so that's the form of education that we adapted. And when my son hit his adolescence, we were actually we were based out of Cusco, Peru, and he started to feel the desire to have community. And one of the questions that I posed to him was, do you want to go back to the States and find people to form community with? And he said, no way. I don't want to live in the States. I love our lifestyle. We lived nomadically for almost 15 years. So more of his life was spent outside of the United States, traveling and learning and, you know, leading our trips and so forth. So when he was 13, together we formed this company called Project World School. We started to bring teams to different places in the world to have these experiential learning experiences, really deep learning by doing. Learning by doing is the most powerful way and the most meaningful way and the most in context way to learn. And that became our project. We've been running Project World School as partners for the last 10 years. And we brought over 200 teens to countries around the world for these month-long learning retreats. They're learning communities. Part of what I had to do was study, you know, and learn how to facilitate learning communities.